Hey, how's it going, guys? GM, welcome to Solana Snapshot. We got a fireside chat here with Pyth. I have Jenny over here with me doing the pleasure. So why don't we get some quick intros in and we'll get this rolling. So I'm Nero, CEO and founder of MC and Multi-Chain Advisors, strategy growth consulting company. Pyth is actually one of our long-term clients and partners. Jenny, give a quick intro.
Awesome. Thanks for having us. Jenya Mikhalchenko. I run business development at Duro Labs, which is the labs entity to Pyth. Personally responsible for onboarding and deploying new L1s and L2s, and also I run our new Express Relay product.
Awesome. So to start off with, for folks who might not know about Pyth, why don't you just let them know quickly what is Pyth Network all about? What's your guys' vision? What are you guys up to?
So, for those of you that don't know, Pyth is a decentralized Oracle network. We currently power over 100 different blockchains. We're deployed on 100 different chains. We have 1,500 different price feeds across equities, crypto, commodities, FX, and a bunch of other different asset classes. We have about 500 different applications and DeFi protocols that are currently using our price feeds. We're number 3 as far as total value secured behind Chainlink and Chronicle, and we're basically number 1 in terms of total traded value across all the protocols that we support. So in layman's terms, we sit in between all the major centralized exchanges, decentralized exchanges, market makers, and trading firms, applications, and token projects. So we're like smack dab in the middle.
Awesome. Thanks for the quick intro over there. Obviously, Pyth is multi-chain and focus on a bunch of blockchains. But which chains are you guys most active in right now and why?
Yeah, so I think people probably know us best from our start in Solana. So we actually started out as a Solana-specific Oracle back last cycle in 2021. We have the dominant market share on Solana. I think it's like 94 or 95%. We power like every large Solana app and protocol that you guys know, from Jupiter to Drift, Camino, you name it, we're involved in powering some aspect of what they do. We're pretty dominant on Sui as well, powering the likes of Navi and Bluefin, Aftermath, and the kind of the long tail of other projects and protocols that are built there. And then we're pretty dominant on Ton and Abstract, Story Protocol, Bear Chain, and then the EVM landscape as well, both on the L1 and then the L2s as well, with the likes of Optimism and Arbitrum. So we're situated pretty nicely in between all the ecosystems. We're not maximalists in terms of which ones we want to bet on to win. We're just there to support whoever wants to build applications using our price feeds.
Makes sense. You obviously mentioned a bunch of blockchains over here. You guys work with a bunch of different blockchains and have deployed on many of them. You obviously have a good insight into seeing like what makes a proper blockchain, what makes a successful blockchain. You want to share some insights on that?
Yeah, sure. So like I said, we're in the middle of all this stuff. Like we engage and interface with a lot of different teams, and we hear the different pitches. Like we see how people deploy, we see what works, what doesn't, and I think ultimately, as as the market cycles evolve, what we've noticed is that you need to have and this is like so cliche, but like you need to have first of all a very strong product that that meets some sort of user demand or fixes some sort of problem. But we're starting to see that for example, what doesn't work is protocols that are I'm not going to name any names, but like let's just say Rollup X, who's going to be building on like some L2 stack that literally just wants to copy paste the playbook from every L2. And I'm sure we can all think of many names that fit into that category, but that sort of strategy doesn't work anymore. It might have worked 6 months ago or a year ago, but frankly, there's too many chains, and it feels like the bar for success right now is so high that you can't just replicate simply what worked in the past. You have to add some sort of net new value, or your application has to be it's got to be slightly different, right? So what we're starting to see, the differentiating factors are chains that are launching with 1 or 2 like primary like flagship apps. And I guess the best example of this, and again super cliche, but like Hyperliquid just like ran away with this narrative, right? And they actually launched on Arbitrum first, and then they kind of back-ended into their own chain, which is called Hyper EVM, which obviously we're deployed on. But having a successful app just to land the plane is the primary thing that will set apart, new chain launches moving forward. And frankly, like I said, the copy pasta model, that's just not going to fly because users and investors are more savvy nowadays, and that stuff's not interesting anymore.
100%. There's just too much of the same thing, and
Yeah.
people are getting smarter, so it's great. You guys have been historically very focused on DeFi, and there's been a lot of efforts on that. And are you guys looking more into the TradFi part of the world right now?
Yeah, so obviously our primary business is price feeds for DeFi to power DeFi, but we have actually branched out pretty aggressively into providing price feeds for all manner of equities and ETFs and commodities, and the price fees are obviously supposed to be used for applications on chain, but we found through various conversations that we've had over the last few months that this pricing, this data is actually useful for off-chain use cases, meaning that we could package this and sell it off to TradFi institutions and proprietary trading firms at a far cheaper rate than what these guys pay right now. And these guys pay millions of dollars a year to get historical benchmarks and data, to backtest models and all sorts of stuff. So we found very interesting insight that there's an actual demand for this sort of stuff. So I can't share too much, but we're leaning pretty hard into that segment of the market. But in addition, we're engaged with every large TradFi firm that's signaled that they want to enter the space. Many of them already published data to us. The Fidelities of the world, the Nomura's, and a bunch of other super big names that we're already engaged with. So we're leaning further into that direction. And as things mature, I think we'll be able to share some more exciting details.
That's it. What's been the largest milestone or success for Pyth over the last year?
Yeah, so I mean, there's been a bunch. We're obviously super lucky that things are trending in the right direction. We have an amazing team, super talented. Everyone's turbo giga brain, so we just know how to ship pretty well. I'll just fire off some milestones off the top of my head. So we crossed 1.5 trillion in cumulative trading volume that we've supported across all the applications, which is terrific. We launched something called OIS, which stands for Oracle Integrity Staking. It's a way for people to stake their Pyth tokens to secure price feeds on the network, and you're paid a yield out of that. I think the yield's between 6% and 8% right now. We launched a product called Entropy, which is it's a VRF function, basically a random number generator that could be used for SocialFi and GambleFi to kind of enable various use cases. It's been pretty successful on Blast, on Base, on Abstract, on a lot of the gaming related chains. And then a product that I'm working on is called Express Relay. We launched this last year. It's an on-chain Solana RFQ and a searcher network. So in layman's terms, basically we're bringing a network of market makers to provide liquidity on-chain through a program that we run, and then front ends like Camino and Jupiter and Titan, they plug in and they're able to route through our program for better liquidity. So those are a few examples. I mean, we got a bunch of other cool stuff in the pipeline for this year, but I won't spill the beans yet.
Awesome. I guess the Oracle space is super competitive as is. What do you think are some of the differentiating characteristics that create success in that industry?
Yeah, I mean, what we've seen through our experience and through conversations we've had with all the folks we work with is that getting you could scrape data from many places. You can go and scrape the Binance API data. You can go to CoinGecko. You can go to CoinMarketCap, and that's fine. And all those things are typically free and they're available for use. But if you're looking for accurate real-time price data from first parties, meaning the people that originate the price data, we're basically the only ones that provide this, right? So the way that it works is we have a network of 125 data publishers. So these are market makers, high frequency trading firms, DEXs, SEXs, right? Everyone from Coinbase to Binance to Jane Street, Jump Trading, DRW. These guys all publish bid and offer data for all of the symbols that we have. We aggregate that data, and then we spit out a price feed, which then is like the single source of truth that is then used by the 500 applications that we power. So, obviously there's other options on the market, and there's a whole number of competitors, and that's great. Competition's good for everyone. But as far as first-party data goes, and accurate real-time price data, like it's just like no one comes close. And yeah, that's like the strongest point.
Makes sense. I know you guys had a big presence at DAS earlier this year. What would you say is the biggest takeaway from that event?
Yeah, DAS was interesting. I mean, I think we all know that that there's been a major tone shift with the new American administration coming in, which has been obviously positive in the right direction after getting beat down for 4 years by the SEC and the CFTC and the DOJ and all the alphabet soup agencies. So I think there's been a very big vibe shift. I think obviously a lot of the major lawsuits and kind of roadblocks have been dropped, which is amazing for anyone that's trying to build anything in America. And America's still the #1 home of innovation. Like, I don't care what anyone says, all the best builders are out there, all the best companies are formed out there. Capital formation, just works the best over there. So having those roadblocks removed has really been like a big tone shift in the conversation. We've just like everyone's been approached by all the big TradFi guys, right? Like a lot of the doors have been open now, and you're seeing a lot of these partnerships, from all the stuff that Ondo and Securitize and Wormhole are doing. Like there was just a big announcement today. Oh God, I forgot. Ondo was doing something today. They just announced with some big TradFi firm. Van Eck announced something yesterday. Like it's just like it's hard to keep up with all the big TradFi announcements. So I think the major theme is that like all these guys are already coming on chain. Like they've been monitoring the space for a long time, and they've just been kind of waiting in the wing for the regulatory environment to cool down. Now it's basically like all systems go. Everyone's got the green light, and obviously RWAs are super hot kind of theme right now, and we're seeing a lot of those projects, and we're engaged with a bunch of them. But I think in general, like all of the use cases that we talked about like 2 cycles ago about tokenizing securities and bringing in bonds on chain and all the sort of stuff that everyone fantasized about, like it's actually happening now, right? And obviously also thanks to BlackRock and like all their leadership, and it's been great. Yeah, just total vibe shift and a whole new world of opportunities.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's very very exciting time ahead for Web3 and crypto. What's you guys work with a lot of different blockchains. Which ones are you guys most excited about right now?
Yeah, so look, it's hard. it's I'm gonna try and choose my words wisely. It's hard to be excited about anything now, not for any other reason than it's really difficult, and the bar is so high, like I said before, to launch something like actually successful and to stand out. But I would say there's 3 that stick out in my mind. Monad, of course. And the joke is like they've been in their hype cycle and building for 2 years, and nothing's gone live yet. But like, listen, we work with these guys. We know what's happening. Like, we're very excited about the prospect of what they're building and a lot of the applications that are going to be coming out. I think Mega ETH is very exciting as well. Very high throughput chain. A lot of interesting actual net new use cases and projects that we've seen come out of there. And then of course Fogo, which we're involved with. Fogo is basically, it's going to be a new layer 1 SVM chain with the Firedancer client built in, 40 millisecond block times and like all sorts of other really amazing features. So we're looking forward to not just working with, but like supporting all the chain developments there and all the applications that are going to be building. Listen, I'm sure there's others, and I don't want to pick more than 3 because we're going to be here all day. But those 3, I think, between now and the end of the year, those are going to be the big ones, and definitely keep your eyes out for that.
Awesome. Last question. What do you think the impact of AI is going to be on Oracle's and Pyth network?
I literally don't know. Listen, you know what? Actually, I'm sure there's going to be some gigabrain is going to figure out some way to throw together an oracle through some LLM prompts. Of course, you're never going to get the same quality of data, and you're never going to be able to, decentralize it the way that, the way that we've done, because there's so many moving pieces. But for sure, some version of this will probably come out at some point. But yeah, that's a good one. I don't know, but that's where my head goes.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Genio.
Thank you.